All right. Hello, good evening. Welcome to another live episode of the ONG Strike Zone. Bryan Fulford, Marcus Green, Kelvin Rozier there at the bottom of the screen. It's a pleasure to be on with you, FAMU. What's good, brothers? Marcus, I see you looking over your shoulder.
No, I just saw something on the table. I was like, what is that on the table? It's not usually there.
Got the beautiful background going on back there. Yeah,
yeah, that's not usually there. So I'm like, oh, what is that?
It's all good. It's all good. How we doing tonight, brothers? Marcus, Kelvin?
I'm doing good. You know what? It's shockingly warm where I am. So I'm going to bask in this until it ends.
What is warm in Delaware? What is that, like 40 degrees?
It was like 60 degrees yesterday.
What? Yeah, don't say there's no such thing as global warming. Anyway. Yeah. What's it looking like down? Well, I should say north of me. We're all south of Marcus. Oh, look at you. What are we drinking there, boss? What are we drinking?
Eggnog.
What are we sipping on? Oh, it's that time of year, huh?
'Tis the season to be jolly.
How jolly is your cup?
Hold on, I was gonna say, yeah. Something tells me there's not just eggnog in that cup, outside of some ice, maybe.
It no ice? It's chilled. It's eggnog, and there could be some eggnog with some bourbon in it.
I think that's the only way you're supposed to drink eggnog. Don't let anybody else tell you differently. That's the only way you drink eggnog.
Absolutely. And then in terms of your question, the weather is pretty nice now, but this weekend it'll be cold, man. It's supposed to get down to maybe the low 30s, high 20s, and the highs are only supposed to get to the 50s. So it's getting ready to change. But for now, we kind of in Marcus territory.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, not too dissimilar from here. You know, we had a couple cold days and a couple warm days down here in Central Florida. So it is what it is. How's the weather in your neck of the woods, family? Those of you joining us on the chat rooms, we say hello to everybody that's watching us on the Jericho Broadcast Network's My JDN online page, or maybe our ONG Strike Zone YouTube page. We say hello and salute to you. The family watching us on Facebook as well, we say hello to everybody watching on the Black College Sports Network Facebook page or the ONG Strike Zone page, and hello to people watching on X and Instagram at ONG Strike Zone. Please make sure you're following us, and you would do us a solid if everybody would just be so kind and make sure you are sharing the show with your family. We are part of the Black College Sports Network, but this show in particular, talking all things about FAMU athletics and culture. So we need all of our Rattlers in the house. We need you to go ahead and share the show. Our numbers are too small for the kind of reach that we have, gentlemen. I think our numbers are way too low. So that means we need more people sharing. We need more of y'all, in the chats, sharing the show, posting on your pages. I know you got at least 5 friends that haven't heard of the show. Just simply ask them, have you heard of the ONG Strike Zone? You're like, what? Yeah, you're missing out. Just let them know, people. We'd appreciate it. Well, we are coming up on the end of the 2024 calendar year, and it's a beautiful thing when you can close out the year with another championship coming from Atlanta back to Tallahassee. So we will talk about and celebrate the Marching 100 Band of the Year victory in Atlanta, Georgia this past weekend. over the defending Band of the Year champions, North Carolina A&T, golden marching blue and gold something. But anyway, I say that only because I couldn't think of it off the. I was no disrespect, no shade, even though
blue and gold marching machine, I believe.
Thank you, blue and gold marching machine. Thank you. I didn't want to get it incorrect, but it just kind of flowed out that way. But anyway, congratulations, Dr.
Too many words.
Too many words.
See,
congratulations to Dr. Shelby.
See the 100. The 100 is easy.
The 100, exactly. The marching 100. And coming up in hour 2, we're going to talk about the 100 and talking with Mr. Ralph John Paul, the assistant director of marching bands at Florida A&M University, who's over the lower brass section. So we will talk to him. He will get us, we'll get some behind the scenes, behind the curtain information about what went into this particular season and just sort of the intricacies of what you saw. And so hopefully, if you haven't seen the performance, I would encourage you all. You can, simply go to YouTube and make sure you're following the Marching 100. I know Marching 100 Paparazzi, who's also very big on YouTube, follower of the show. So, they've got some great footage as well. So you could see the show for yourself. So yeah, we represented for the SWAC. So the SWAC went up to Atlanta and got a deuce this year. Picked up 2 victories representing the conference. And I'll tell you, gentlemen, I was in Atlanta working the game, and I got to tell you, it was nice having been there, done that, and gone through all the emotions of our championship a year ago. I could appreciate all that, the feelings and the good feelings that those folks had with winning their title. Getting the trifecta, which we did first, by the way. So I mean, it's and that can never be restated. So while we salute them, we did it first. Just remember that we did it first, and you will hear that. We will remind you of that as often as we can and will, because we did it first. So we say congratulations to you, but we did it first. Okay, there it is. All right. Anything you guys want to add on that? I know there's some people in the chats. I know they're gonna clown. But anyway, any thoughts before we get into the roll call?
No, I think you beautifully articulated our stance.
There you go. All right. So I want to remind everybody, if you'd like to donate to the show, it is the holiday season, the season of giving. You can do it right there in the Cash App. $MyJBN, MyBCSN is where you can hit us up. You could also, if you are in the YouTube chats on the MyJBN page, you can leave a super chat. We'd appreciate it. More directly, use that Cash App right there would be a great way to show your support for the show. And again, share the show. Please share the show. Tell your family to subscribe. Okay, enough plugs. Let's do some roll call. Let's see what we got in the let's see what's going on in the chats. Let me switch a couple of things here. Okay, so first up, it looks like it was Jimmy Mack first up in the building. Jimmy Mack, there you go. Thank you for being a JBN subscriber as well. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to all. Exactly. Good to see you, Ken, checking in as well. Giving some shout outs, some love. Hello to Melissa. Checking in. Good to see you, Melissa. Good to see you. Meredith. Hey, Meredith. Thank you for being a JBN subscriber as well. Mary 305. Thank you for being a JBN subscriber. Hello to you. Little baby. Good to see you, little baby. Thank you for checking in.
Big little baby.
Marvin Allen. Good to see you, Marvin. Marcus JY. Thank you, Marcus, for being a JBN subscriber as well. Coach Ferrasi. Good to see you, Coach.
Don't do that. You can't skip my girl.
Huh? Wait a minute. Oh, did I? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You can't
Demetra,
skip my girl, boy.
I didn't. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't intentional.
Because she will roast us.
Yeah, look. It was not intentional. Not intentional at all. Good to see you, Demetra.
What's
not
up,
intentional. And you could have been a little more discreet about that. So see, now I'm gonna hear the end. I won't hear the end of YesC. I won't hear the end of that now. Thank you, Kelvin. Good to see you, Gail. Thank you for checking in. Woo, it's cold in Cleveland, so I guess that warm front didn't hit Cleveland, huh, Gail? That's what you're telling us. Warm front didn't come through Cleveland. Sorry to hear that. Chuck Hunt checking in from Monroe, Louisiana. Good to see you,
that
Chuck.
That dog a hunt.
Shout out to James Austin asking
What's up, James Austin?
Asking the questions, the great questions. Good to see you on Facebook. Thank you, James, for checking in. Will Davis, thank you for coming in, checking in from North Atlanta. EA coming in as well. Good to see you, EA.
Look at him in the holiday spirits. I'm proud of EA.
Exactly, checking in. Meredith says she's in Detroit. How's that weather in Detroit?
Cold. It's so cold in the D.
Jimmy Mack, south of me, 772 and holding. I see you, Jimmy. Right. Welcome into the show, Sonic Boom. Congratulations to you.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Welcome
way to go, JSU.
Yeah, exactly. Marvin Allen said it's 75 in Duval. All right, there you go. Edwin Moore checking in. What's good, Edwin? How you doing?
What's going on, Edwin?
You got jokes talking about that staying warm. Well, it is what it is.
It is fly. I got you, Edwin. I know what you're saying. It's fly.
Mr. Campbell checking in. Good to see you.
What's up,
Mr.
Steve?
Campbell? Oh, he was in the house. He was in Atlanta, serving notice to folks.
Yeah, he had on his own degree.
Exactly.
Seeing with those Tigers. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, he got to go home. Ain't nothing wrong with it. That's his second team. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. Little baby said saw several angles. Yeah, I missed it live too. I had a game that night, so I missed it. But I'm curious, how was the broadcast? You guys watched it live versus what you've seen on YouTube afterwards?
I did. Yes. You talking about the band?
Band of the year performance.
Yes.
How was it?
Yes,
how was it live? The live performance.
So it was like what it was recorded. I mean, yes. Okay. Yeah, it was good camera angles, good sound. And for me, the 100 was, I thought, both shows was really good. Now, don't get me wrong, but the 100 show was more creative, more entertaining, as well as sounded great.
Yeah. Marvin Allen, 2 years and 2 championships for his daughter. All right, in the 100. Okay, Marvin, shout out. Got to say hello to Hollow.
Hello.
Shout out to AD checking in. AD as well.
What's going on,
JD TV?
Watch JD TV?
Russell Haynes checking in. Good to see you. Miak in the house.
It's not even full fed. Road Dog. You skipped Road Dog.
Did you? I didn't see Road. Did I? Okay, Road. My bad. See? What throws me off sometimes is some of the color coding by people's names. I thought I had seen them. See, and then you get now see, that's what happens when see. I'm gonna just start turning this particular role over to someone else. Then I can stay free of the bullets. Alice McCullough checking in. Good to see you, Alice.
What's up, Bull? What's up, Russell?
All right, I think we are caught up.
Chris Dukes.
Yep. Chris Dukes coming in. Yeah, South Carolina. Yeah, South Carolina State they look bad. Russell Haynes. Yeah, that MEAC boy. Woo. Hey, you know what? The biggest takeaway I can say for the second year in a row, the SWAC team looked like a MEAC team. We look MEAC-ish. That performance.
Don't say that.
Well, look, we have.
Well, I'm just saying that sounds too close.
Give AD credit because AD coined the phrase MEAC-ish and for non-positive reasons. But in using the spirit of that word, remember we always talked about how the MEAC was the more physical conference, right? That was at least what we believed going in. And I think Coach Simmons always talked about building the team from inside the trenches, and that was the motto, and that's why we kind of felt like we had a chance when we got to the Celebration Bowl. Well, what do you know? Earlier in the week, Coach T.C. Taylor talked about something similar. Talked about his experience and years in coaching in the MEAC and what that meant for how he was going to build this team differently than his predecessor, and it turned out to be true. Yeah, so 2 years in a row. Yeah, see, I don't know. You haven't. I don't owe you $1, Drew. You gotta make sure you get that copyright on it, though. See, yeah. So there you go. But again, for those who, what'd you say?
No, go ahead. I was just gonna jump in since we were mentioning the game.
Well, go ahead.
I
mean, I only just brought it up briefly. I didn't. There was a couple nuggets I was going to mention about the game, not necessarily the game, but I mean, go ahead. What you got?
Well, a couple of things stood out. The better team won. There was no if, shoulda, coulda, woulda. They JSU dominated from start to finish. Looked like South Carolina State hadn't played in a while. They had a lot of players going down, whether it be cramps or injuries. But I mean, they had a lot of players the whole game going down. I didn't realize the quarterback didn't play the last game. Their quarterback, Phoenix, and that he had got injured 2 games before, so he hadn't played in like 5 weeks.
Ooh, looked like
it looked like it. But no, JSU totally dominated this game, and definitely was the best team in Black college football this year.
Mm-hmm. Marcus, any thoughts, comments?
No, I mean they showed improved, and hats off to them. Hats off to J-State.
Yeah, I think a couple of talking points as I talked to people leaving, and I ran into a few Rattlers outside of the stadium. The rest factor, we talked about the fact that it was believed that the advantage lied with the MEAC having more rest. Mm-hmm. Well, here's a year where could it be too much rest hurt them versus a team that really didn't have to wait a week from playing. It was almost like you could go from 1 week playing the SWAC championship game to the next week playing. And that's, if FAMU is to go to the Celebration Bowl next year, we're going to have to take a similar path, playing the championship game and then the following week Celebration Bowl, because there is a similar schedule next year. I saw you shaking your head, Kelvin. You're shaking your head no. No to what? What are you shaking your head no to?
I don't think it mattered this year. JSU was just going to be a more complete team. And I think it also was helpful that some of those players and then Coach TC himself, they had been in that environment. They kind of know what to do. This was South Carolina State. They kind of ahead of schedule. Even though Coach Berry had done the D2 thing last year, this was kind of a new experience for his team, his players. But I don't. At the end of the day, JSU was just better. Period. That particular day specifically, much better.
Yeah. Also, as I ran into a few of our beloved Rattlers post game, it had to have you scratching your head about that game in Jackson, didn't it? And just thinking how we were leading that game with about three something to go.
4 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, the ESPN FPI said we had a 75% chance going into that infamous drive where we were up 1 on our own maybe 30-something yard line. And man, you go back to, it's frustrating. You go back to play calling. I know we make a big deal about the 3rd down fumble, but I'll go to the 2nd down toss play. And it was like, we played too aggressive. Looking back, and it's always you can do hindsight. So the hindsight 2020 thing is in effect right now, just to forewarn anybody. But you know, you go back and look at that game, and you can't help but shake your head because we were on the verge of winning that contest, and I think two plays sunk us. I think the second down play put us in the bad situation on third down, and the third down play, in my opinion, was inexcusable to be passing the ball in that situation. But your thoughts, gentlemen? Any buyer's remorse or any regret as you think back and look back on that game and that situation?
Hey, it is what it is. You know, we
Yeah.
took the L on that one, and you know, and so I'm not interested in relitigating it. What happened happened.
Yeah, and I would submit to you, Bryan. Yeah, I mean that was an unfortunate set of circumstances, and we can rehash it. But there were two things that happened earlier in the game that could have put us in a better position later, and I know I mentioned it somewhere else too. If we would have squeezed the interception in the first half, it would have been 21-17 instead of 21-20. Because I think they got a field goal off. Because on that third down play, I want to say it's Deco Wilson had it in his hands and he dropped it on third down. And so then also we happened to have a missed field goal. I think it was just out of Cameron Gillis's range. So, we would have been up 24-17 if everything else stayed the same, because the defenses seemed like they're locked in the second half. It would have been 24-17 versus 21-20. And then, whatever happens would have happened. But I don't know how much of a game changer it would have been to have a different score, but it wouldn't have been as tight. You at least had a touchdown margin versus a 1-point margin.
Well, the key, just to repeat what really was the difference in that game. I know you talk about the last two plays, and of course, but the real thing was the 4 turnovers we generated and not scoring any touchdowns off them. That was the bottom line.
Shout out to Dr. Lori in the building. Merry Christmas to you.
What's up, Doc? Glad to see you. Hope all is well.
A couple of interesting numbers and statistics following that game. The attendance of that game, 36,823. The lowest attended game post-COVID. Obviously, a lot was made of the 41,000 that our game had a year ago. This one, 36,823, a rematch between two teams where I think when the first time these two teams played 3 years ago, I think they drew close to 48,000. Any thoughts? Any thoughts on why this number was so low on the heels of a very lowly attended SWAC championship game in Jackson?
I mean, it's still a good number.
It is. Yes,
numbers ain't nothing to poo-poo. Yeah, the poo-poo at, but I just think in this case the difference of 5,000 to 7,000 is people got other things going on, and sometimes this time of year people can't commit, and you don't know who's participating to for the SWAC anyway until a week before, because we had a championship game. So got to try to get a little bit more of the local Atlanta market to come and support it. I think that's the missing thing from it being a sellout. I thought Jackson drew pretty good. South Carolina State drew okay, and the non-HBCU folks, the HBCU folks who are not a part of the teams that are participating had a okay showing too. You got to get that Metro Atlanta.
I didn't see as many non-Jackson State, South Carolina State fans. I really didn't. Not like I think I had seen in previous years. Now I'll admit I didn't do a complete walk around like I've done in the past, but it didn't seem like, and people will say it was probably 60-40 JSU folks, but I didn't see very many. I spotted a few Rattlers. I saw a few. It just didn't seem like it was the Super Bowl type event of various schools like I've seen the last 2 years. You know what I'm saying? But while the attendance numbers might have been lower, we all thought that, well, if folks didn't come to the game, that they were going to watch the game. And the latest TV numbers reported from HBCU Game Day point out that the ratings went way up from a year ago. Let's see, the 2024 Cricket Celebration Bowl numbers drew an average of 2.1 million viewers on ABC, marking a 37% increase from last year's record low numbers, and highlights the continued appeal of HBCU football on the national stage. Now, it's also, in case anybody forgot, last year our game against Howard also was going up against NFL games that were being played on that same Saturday. Nothing beats the NFL. I don't care what it is. It could be a rerun of Murder, She Wrote. It ain't beating the NFL.
Murder, She
Wrote. So our numbers last year were, I think, in the 1.5, million. So, but again, look at the competition it was going up against. So,
which was really good, actually. Yeah, considering there was a not only an NFL game, but if I remember correctly, there may have been it was a college game that started within an hour of it or something.
Yeah, there was some game.
Yeah. Let's see. The game, which I'm reading more from the article, the game which took place 1 week earlier than its traditional spot due to the college football playoff, peaked at 2.6 million viewers. For comparison, the FCS playoff matchup between Mercer and North Dakota State, which aired on ABC, and that was the follow. So that playoff game followed the Celebration Bowl. That game only drew 1.4 million viewers. So, quoting here from John Grant, the executive director, he said, quote, "This year's success reaffirms the Celebration Bowl's role as the premier showcase for HBCU football. The decision to adjust the game's timing was strategic, and it clearly paid off. We are excited about the momentum this created as we continue to elevate HBCU athletics on a national platform." And it really was a situation. Oh, go ahead. You want to add something?
Yeah, I want to add to the discussion. What's your thoughts? And I have some thoughts on the time frame, the noon start game. Because you talked about the actual in-house attendance. And I just, noon games are tough for a lot of HBCU and HBCU fans. Saturday mornings are days where people do running around. They got kids who do either city league or high school sports, and so you eating breakfast is tough to get to that stadium and fight the traffic and be there at noon. So of course, traditionally, I can only speak from the evidence that I've seen with FAMU and some other HBCUs. Typically, afternoon or evening games do much better in terms of in-person attendance. I wonder if you can get to that 3 o'clock time frame.
3 o'clock, 3:30. Now, here's the thing about this game, and this is another thing. The reason why you don't want to be in that 3 o'clock slot, the Army-Navy game. So that too went on after our game. When I say our, I mean the Celebration HBCU football game. So that's a challenge. Look, you're always trying to play the strategy of what's the pros and cons of moving. If you play the game you don't want to be 3 and 3:30 because that's I think you don't want to go against Army Navy. If you played it at 7 o'clock, does that take you away? That takes people away from what? The evening activities that, we like to do.
Well, also, isn't it the same? And I'm trying to remember. Isn't it also the same time? And I don't remember. No, that's the week before. I'm sorry. Like the big championship games, like the SEC, Big 12, ACC. That's the week before, right?
Yes. The conference championships all are on the same weekend. Like the SWAC championship is also, the same time. So, yeah, I think that, look, all the things
you just said that the FCS playoff game that went against it still was 1.4, 1.5.
1.4, yep.
I don't think it's a significant shift in terms of TV ratings, personally, for the fan base that will watch the game, going against that particular game. The question is, and I don't know this definitively, but I would project that perhaps the attendance will max out more with the later start of the day, and the TV ratings will only be minimized, but don't know that.
Okay. All right. We'll keep in, again, next season, a similar schedule, 12 week college football season. 12 game, you can play 12 games in the season at the FCS level. You also have to deal with the college football playoffs. It's an interesting marketplace. And I think establishing a time, and now I think hasn't always been noon. I think all 9 seasons, all 9 years have been noon, right? First college bowl game of the calendar, right?
Yes.
I'm assuming so.
I think even going back to trying to think, maybe the last couple of Heritage Bowls were at 12 noon. Trying to remember before they had the hiatus.
Well, hey, like I said, I think it's it's not that I'm advocating for.
You gotta remember now when it first started, we weren't competing against NFL games, and it was actually the first bowl game when the Celebration Bowl first started.
Right. So
they didn't have to get pigeonholed into that noon time slot.
Correct. All right, let's take a quick break. Come back. Talk a little bit about the Band of the Year competition. Again, celebrating the Marching 100's victory over the North Carolina A&T Blue and Gold Marching Machine. Did I say it right this time?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So. Good. Okay. I wasn't sure. You could tell by the way I said that. And then also a FAMU and MEAC Hall of Famer got the call, and he's going to camp. About time. So we'll talk about the latest Black College Football Hall of Famer to have worn the FAMU jersey. We'll talk about him and that announcement on the other side of this break. Hit the thumbs up and the like button. You're watching the ONG Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
HBCU football fans, this year's Cricket Celebration Bowl has a new date. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 14th as the MEAC and SWAC champions meet once again. Join us in Atlanta for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit the Celebration Bowl.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2025? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 31st to February 2nd, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances from the Levert Experience and the Bar Cave. Immerse yourself in interactive art. Shop from over 80 vendors. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app and enjoy family-friendly STEM activities. Plus, don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends, honoring talents such as Whitney Houston, Marvin Gaye, and Luther Vandross. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets.
ESPN Events Band of the Year, a title reserved for the absolute best in the world of HBCU marching bands. A season-long competition that culminates in Atlanta on Friday, December 13th. Drum majors, percussion, drill, auxiliaries, musicality. All aspects will be adjudicated by expert judges in the world of college bands. 4 bands will qualify for the big stage, where national champions will be crowned. Follow us on social media for ranking updates throughout the season. And join us at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
All right, Bryan, Kelvin, Marcus here. Welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. I want to encourage you guys to go ahead and hit the thumbs up in the chats, wherever and however you're watching our show. Thanks, everybody, tuning in and joining us again. Coming up in hour number 2, we'll be talking with Ralph John Paul, the Assistant Director of Marching Bands at Florida A&M over the lower brass section. So we will talk with him about the Marching 100's performance there. You can see Dr. Chipman with the trophy from the Red Lobster. It was the Red Lobster ESPN Band of the Year. So you saw that's the CEO of Red Lobster there holding the trophy with Dr. Chipman. And, of course, one of the iconic images from the performance there with the drum majors at midfield. So good performance overall. We'll talk more about. So any band related questions that you guys have, go ahead and put those in the chat room. I'll make sure to star them and save them so that way we can ask Mr. Paul about them once we talk to him, coming up here at the top of hour number 2. Okay. I mentioned the fact that we had the latest Black College Football Hall of Famer and it was announced today, and it's none other than number 85, part of the original Rat Boys, none other than Jaquay Nunnally, FAMU Athletics Hall of Famer, MEAC Hall of Famer, one of the legends, one of the GOATs of the Gulf Coast offense and the Billy Joe era, was elected to the class of 2025. Jaquay, of course, from South Florida, I believe, correct? South Florida. Miami, South Florida, yeah. Where he currently is a coach. I had the pleasure of, I know some of you may have read the article. Gerald talked to him. I had a chance to talk to him as well. And he's also been coaching at Miami Norland the last few seasons, last few years. Of course, Miami Norland went to the state championship last year, where so it was in Bragg, so it was a chance to kind of come back to Bragg, where he dominated and ran routes. Had a great conversation with him. Of course, he joins a class that features Henry Dyer from Grambling State, Coach Fred Pop Long of Wiley College, Rashawn Mathis from Bethune-Cookman, Dominic Rogers-Cromartie from Tennessee State, and none other than Jay Skywalker. Actually, that's a loaded MEAC class if you think about it. Mathis,
it's big time.
Yeah, that's 3 MEAC Hall of Famers right there. And Rogers Cromartie, of course, played in the NFL. Shout out to good friend Stan. Cromartie, former athletic director at Edward Waters. But if you look, you can see the numbers there from Jaquay, 317 receptions. I did a little digging through the FCS record books. When Jaquay, just in case those who may have forgotten, when Jaquay finished his time at FAMU, that 317 was number one all time in the FCS. He had just surpassed Jerry Rice, who had 301 from his time at Valley. And currently, just to kind of show you where things have changed in the game, he's currently fourth. That record, of course, largely was blown away by Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp was at Eastern Washington. I think all they did was throw the ball to Kupp. I don't think anybody could stop that dude or that offense. But he was also, you see the career yardage, 4,239 career yards. At the time when he finished up in 2000, he was number 2 behind Jerry Rice. He's currently 7th now. The career touchdowns, he has 38 career touchdowns. At the time when he finished up, that was tied for 5th most. Now it's 20th. Just show you where the game has grown over the last 24 years. And I did note, of course, that he joined the FAMU Hall of Fame in 2009, the MEAC Hall of Fame in 2010. Now, a lot of people may say, why did it take so long for him to get into the Black College Football Hall of Fame? Well, people have to remember, the Black College Football Hall of Fame did not really come into existence until 2010, right? So this is actually the 16th class that has come into the Black College Football Hall of Fame. So this is class number 16 that he is a part of. So you got to think of all the years of heritage and decades of players, you know. So that's why it took, 14 years since he became part of the MEAC Hall of Fame for him joining. Now, we will say Jaquay is the 7th FAMU football player to be inducted into the Black College Football Hall of Fame. He's the 2nd FAMU wide receiver behind
Bob Hayes.
Bob Hayes.
Bob Hayes, right? Who was a part of the 2nd class. He was a part of the 2011 class, which was the 2nd class to go into the Black College Football Hall of Fame. And just among wide receivers, I found this pretty interesting. He is now the 14th wide receiver to go into the Black College Football Hall of Fame. The 14th. So, yeah.
You know, I have to say, I think he's probably one of the most underrated all-time greats.
For sure.
There is, because when he broke those records and when he was a 4-year starter, even though his freshman year, he really didn't play until like 5th game of the season or something like that.
Yes.
But when you talk about dominance from the time he stepped on the field to the time he left, I mean, the Gulf Coast offense is known because of Jaquay Nunley. You talk about the numbers he was at when he left football, when he graduated and left FAMU in 2000. He owned almost all the records. I think he had the most catches in an individual game, which was later surprisingly passed by another Rattler later on, Charlie Allen. I think against Southern, some ridiculous number like 19 maybe passes or something. Yeah. So
here's one record he still holds. And I don't know if this will ever get broken. As crazy as it sounds in this day of college football, he still holds the record for most yards gained by a freshman, 284, against North Carolina A&T, October 11th, 1997. That was 13
his
catches.
First game. His first game he started.
284.
Yeah.
13 catches, 284.
Hello, everybody. I'm here. It's
Exactly.
over with.
That's a hell of a start. That is a hell of a start.
Oh, by the way, watch JD TV. Yes, he was a running back at FAMU. Bob Hayes. He was asking about Bob Hayes.
Mm.
Yeah, he was in the
What,
backfield.
FAMU, he was a running back.
We didn't really throw the ball much.
Yeah, that was
back in those days.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was in talking to Jaquay, Jaquay is very this was even the case in college. He's not a me guy. Whatever you think of receivers these days, that he was the 180 of that. Very, very subdued. It's funny, in talking to him, he shared a story that when he got the call from Doug Williams about getting into when he was selected, right? He didn't quite put it all together that Doug Williams was actually calling him to tell him that he was in the Hall of Fame, because I think he shared with me that a family, I think he said a cousin or a friend had told him just a day or two earlier that he was actually nominated or in the finalist group, right? So he thought Doug Williams was calling him to tell him that he was a finalist. And he was kind of like, oh, okay, well, thank you, sir. And just kind of like nonchalant about it, right? So it wasn't until after the fact that he realized, wait a minute, you mean I'm actually in it? Because he's like, he even thought he was already in it. He was like, oh, I'm not already in it? It was like, yeah, no, not quite. So I think he even shared the fact that his son, when he told his son, he said his son's like 7, he told his son, and his son was even like, Dad, you're not already in it? What took so long? It's like, well, again, this Black College Football Hall of Fame only started in 2010. This is the 16th class. So it took a minute. You got legends that have been years. There probably still a lot of legends who aren't in yet. But, eventually, he did get in. And so we'll celebrate that. I think the ceremony is in June. And so that's another thing that, Jaquay is so not even about, it's like he appreciates all the awards. I think there's a quote in the article that Gerald did where he talked about none of this, obviously this is really more about those other guys, that offense, the other guys that he was in this offense with. You think about some of the other receivers that, he shared the spotlight with, Caden Lamb,
Bendros.
Bendros. I can't think. I don't have my article. The Robert, the other receiver who just recently passed.
I think he was a little bit before, but I think he
Well, he played with Robert, didn't he? Or was Robert at the end of those senior years?
I think he was at the end. But you also, I can't pronounce his name. Quaim.
Yeah. From Atlanta, the speed guy.
Yeah, I can't pronounce his name, but
put it like this:
yeah.
the original Rack Boys, and I think Jaquay said he gets more people when they tried to do the whole Rack Boys 2.0 thing, and he got more people calling him about that, talking about, those guys ain't Rack 2.0. People would call him up talking about, man, y'all scored 50, a game. This team can barely score 30. And they, that's what people were telling him. He was just like, man, look, leave them guys alone. Let them do what they do. And it was funny. The one thing he did say, he was like, look, it was a different era back then. I mean, FAMU would run the ball once they got 30 points up on the board. That's when FAMU started running the ball, right? But it wasn't no run. It wasn't no mix of run and pass. It was like, no, we're passing. And then once we get about 30, 35 points, then we start beating you up with the run.
We had big Kenny Williams, and we had
big Kenny,
Vidal, Kwame Vidal, and we had some nice backs.
The feature was the passing game, though.
Yeah, but it made the running game so effective. Those guys all rushed close to 1,000 yards with minimum carries.
Yes, they did. Yeah, and I think that's why you have people that still hold on to this theory that, run pass to set up the run. And it's like, It's a different era. The way that offense was just structured and built is a little different. And I will say the quarterbacks were different too. Look, that I still say, those five quarterbacks.
But it's more to that point, Brian. It was how they was coached. Yes. They understood the offense enough, and Coach Joe wanted them to be able to audible and call plays so that we can actually run tempo. And so they had their key reads, and they could call the plays from the line. So I would love to see that because I thought that was so important. And basically, from all the discussions I've had, it was based on how many guys was in the box. Yeah. If you had 6 or less in the box, we were gonna run at it. And as soon as you put an extra guy in the box, we're gonna go, and we could attack every area, right? We had a speed guy, we could attack you over the top. We had John Quay, who mostly, played in the slot or did the underneath routes. Now, when he caught it, he was hard. Even though he wasn't a burner, he was hard to tackle. So we had, that's where Rat came from, because those all 4 of those guys, once they caught the ball, they were more dangerous with the ball than without it. So it was a beautiful thing to see.
It was, and yes, Robert Wilson. I couldn't think of Robert's last name. Yes, thank you, Melissa. Robert Wilson. I think Jaquay had mentioned. Those were the guys.
I think Robert might have mentored those guys, though. I think they might have got 1 year with him, but
right,
he was like
Robert. Robert was a senior, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Robert was a senior.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Look, I didn't know that. That was Melissa. That's Melissa. Okay. Well, good Lord, did not know that, Melissa. Learned something new today. Yeah. I mentioned that because that's what Jaquay mentioned. That Robert had sort of guided those guys. And he did mention him in the article with by Gerald, and that that was the start of it. When Robert was a senior, then Jaquay, Kanan. And those guys, I think Kanan also came in with Jaquay, or either he came in the year after. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that whole era of receivers, it was a perfect combination of receivers, quarterbacks, and what Coach Joe asked that group to do, especially the quarterback position. And it's so amazing when you think about the game today and watching how quarterbacks often always do what? Check to the sideline. There was no checking to the sideline back in the Gulf Coast. It was like you had to know to check. You had to know to read. I don't understand why we don't. Anyway, I'd love to see if we went back to that. I just, if I were an offensive coach, I'd really be trying to get back there. But anyway, that's. Anyway, yes, thank you, Tyron Johnson. I knew you guys would come in there with the names. Thank you. There you go. Appreciate it. Some of the names from
Tariq Queen. That's okay.
Thank you, Tyron. I'd hate to leave anybody out, and I know, like I said, Jaquay was the one who got, but they all did damage. They were all tough as hell to stop. And they gave nightmares to any defensive back coach, any defensive back unit, any defensive coach. I mean, they gave everybody nightmares.
The scoreboard operator.
Officials.
They were dangerous. All of them were dangerous and had their own style and skill set. And the other thing that is interesting for me about this group is they kind of came up together, right?
Yes.
All of them played at least 2 years together. I think the core of them played 3 to 4 years together.
Yeah, I really think there's got to be a special wing, and I don't know if I'm putting this out there to anybody out there listening. FAMU Athletics Hall of Fame. I would love to see just a special unit in. Somehow we need to just recognize this group. Like, I know we got individuals, but this entire group, the same way. I don't know. Do we put teams as a FAMU Athletics Hall of Fame recognize teams, or is it just simply individuals?
I don't know.
I think I remember someone saying they having that discussion. They want to because there's some teams that have individuals from a stat standpoint don't have the the standards that would qualify for the Hall, but what they did as a team does. So I know that was discussed. That Marvin, I think, Green.
Marvin, yes, I do remember that when we had Marvin on recently. He did mention. Well, I'm gonna tell you what, Marvin, if you're listening, this team of receivers, the Rat Boys, they gotta find their way into the Athletics Hall of Fame. I don't know if they're the first team. It's probably controversial to even make them the first team, but if there's a team, this team of receivers deserves to go into the Hall of Fame as its group, because man, what they did in that 5 to 6 year window was impressive as hell. And I'd put this group against any group of wide receivers. I don't know. We can go through the history of college football, and I don't know if there's a more synonymous group of wide receivers that is more well known than the Rat Boys from the Gulf Coast offense in this late 90s Billy Joe era. And we can retire the Rat Boys, by the way. I just want to throw that in there. Let's just retire that altogether. I don't want to hear nothing about 2.5, 3.0. Just retire it, please. We tried it with 2.0. It was nice.
You sound like an old head.
Yeah, old head. That's right.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. No more Rat Boys. We retired the Dark Cloud. Let's move on to something new. Whatever you want to come up with, but it is what it is, right? and yeah. So, all right. So again, that announcement will be coming out here a little bit later. So, all right. Let's take a quick break. We got our guest coming up here shortly, running a bit behind schedule. So we will come back in just a moment. Make sure you stick in there. Get those band questions in. You guys have some interesting band questions or thoughts for Mr. Ralph Jean Paul, the Assistant Director of Marching Bands for the Marching 100. Get those questions in the chats, and I'll go ahead and star them, and we can get some of those asked. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2025? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 31st to February 2nd, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances from the Levert Experience and the Bar Cave. Immerse yourself in interactive art. Shop from over 80 vendors. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app. And enjoy family-friendly STEM activities. Plus, don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends, honoring talents such as Whitney Houston, Marvin Gaye, and Luther Vandross. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets.
HBCU football fans, this year's Cricket Celebration Bowl has a new date. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 14th as the MEAC and SWAC champions meet once again. Join us in Atlanta for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
Welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Bryan, Kelvin, and Marcus. Yeah.
Quick note I just saw come across on social media, and I'm looking at the list now. Apparently, a judge, I think his name's Diego Pavia. He's a quarterback for Vanderbilt when they upset Alabama and a few other teams this year. Basically, I think the judge ruled an injunction that JUCO players, the years they play, does not count against their eligibility.
What?
Yeah, it literally just came down a few minutes ago. So I don't know if that's an injunction or like a ruling, and I don't know all the legal terms and everything, but I'm just looking at our roster of who we signed last year. If we had any junior college players that might get back years of eligibility. But the other thing is, what kind of curveball is that going to throw into the portal and recruiting strategies?
So are you telling me that now you can go to JUCO? So now JUCO serves as sort of almost like a prep school buffer.
Yep, I just sent it to you. And
wow.
Well, you know, JUCOs aren't legislated by the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see the angle at why the argument could get an injunction. Now I'm pretty sure there'll probably be an appeal, and I don't know if it'll stand, but yeah, that we already got people with 9 years with COVID playing, so very interesting. Yeah,
I'm just, and once again, now you look at it in terms of roster retention, who jumps in the portal. Now there's even more competition in the portal, and now you have
I'm gonna tell you what,
more years to deal with in terms of roster management.
I tell you what really, would be a challenge. Now that rosters have quote unquote been limited at the FBS level, and those 30, 35 guys extra that they were carrying, they'll just stick them in the JUCO for 2 years now. That's what's gonna happen if this ruling stands. They're just gonna stash them at the JUCO. Hey, you go to JUCO 2 years, then we'll give you a full ride after 2 years. It becomes JUCO becomes the minor leagues.
Yep. But I don't know. I mean, they were doing that before, because I want dating ourselves, but going back to like 15, 20 years ago, noticed that at a couple major schools that like kids that didn't cut the mustard school wise, they're like, hey, go to who was that quarterback for FSU in the early 2000s? Fabian something. Can't remember his last name. He was from Walker. Fabian Walker. He was from Georgia, and he had signed with FSU coming out of high school, but he didn't have the grade, so he went JUCO 2 years. So basically, JUCOs are, I don't want to demean them, but the appearance back then was that you stash away for 2 years and then come back. But now there's so much competition. If you go away to JUCO, if you say you're on a FBS roster and you go to JUCO 2 years from now, there's no guarantee you're gonna have a spot. But then you'd be jumping right back in the portal to see who else wants you. If you show out or at least retain some of the talent level and promise.
To your point, there's a lot of lies told in recruiting.
So what's interesting is, will current players, let's say there's a kid who, that's going to be interesting, because how does this affect players who are already in college? Do they get years back? Will they get years back next year? You know what I'm saying? So, and that can be huge for them, because you may have thought that, okay, I got to leave because I've exhausted my 4 years. But, oh, wait a minute. You're going to get 2 years back. And there's NIL. It's like, it's I tell you what, man, it's a great time to be a college athlete right now. That's all I can say. It's a great time to be a college athlete. Yeah, Terrence, now see, this is an interesting question. Like,
that's a good point.
Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. All right, coming up here in just a second, I think we've got our guest. He's trying to get his connection and everything ready. Ralph John Paul, the assistant director of marching bands over the baritones and sousaphones. I think we've got him. I'm going to go to bring in our guest, who I think is ready. I'm seeing him sort of in the background. Let's try to bring in our guest here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to recognize another champion representing the Marching 100. The director of baritones and sousaphones for the Marching 100, none other than Ralph John Paul. Sir, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Bryan? What's going on, Kelvin? Marcus?
What's going on, man?
Doing good, man. All right, and yourself?
Right. They can't call it. In this frigid air in Chicago. Yeah, we at this Midwest clinic.
Yeah. Oh,
we never stop moving.
It's cold up there. It's cold up there.
Cold is an understatement. Yeah.
Oh, no doubt. Well, hey, first off, welcome again to the ONG Strike Zone, and congratulations to you, Dr. Chipman, and the Marching 100 on winning the ESPN Band of the Year competition. Thanks for coming on the show. Let's kind of start there with that. We'll kind of get into talking about your role and other questions. But what's the experience? What was the experience like in the days leading up to, once the announcement was made that, the Marching 100 would be one of the two finalists, to everything that went into the performance? Talk a little bit about that experience, if you would.
Well, it was a great honor and privilege, first of all, to be recognized as one of the, staple HBCU marching bands in the country. And I guess from transition to the SWAC, where we emerged with these other historical, strong, opinionated bands, we had opinionated. Yeah, it's clearly how I said it, that we got a chance to, reestablish our, what we believe in terms of our stature, our innovation, our musicianship, just a fundamental practice that we do here. I guess the hard part about it was in the midst of, at the end of the season, finals and last semester, graduation, the whole 9 yards, but the students really rose to the occasion, taking the opportunity to be judged by others. FAMU never been judged. We've always been the precursor and kind of the model for bands. But I guess with this new innovative incentive with ESPN establishing, some kind of measure evaluation to determine. No, I'm sorry. I'm in the music world. I apologize. about that.
That's all right. Handle business. We appreciate you taking time.
Yeah, so all that to say, it was a different platform in terms of being judged and being set to certain criteria that maybe we don't always incorporate in our shows, but the students rose to the occasion, and we took the challenge. We took the challenge. The students took the challenge, and we rose to the occasion. And the naysayers and the non-believers, or the people that just like what they like, it's fine, it's cool. But I think we went and established us as being still the staple marching band music organization in America. Yeah.
I'm curious about something, and I'm gonna turn it over to Kelvin. Going from year one, when the concept was introduced in year one, what was the perception from yourself, Dr. Chipman, in year one, to seeing how the competition was judged, and were changes made within routines and performances to actually be considered in year two and actually get to where we got to?
I think, I'm not sure what the schemata was for year one, because we were in the Celebration Bowl. So we were there that weekend, but we're not affiliated with the inaugural year of the marching exhibition. But I do believe that there was a certain, energy that was missing from us not being in that kind of catalog of, being in that competition. And I just feel unbiasedly, you can't leave FAMU out of that competition level. And I believe that when North Carolina A&T established themselves as the band that won it last year, and then insultingly, it was the William P. Foster Award, which, we hold very reverence to, that another university had claimed that as the first inaugural year to be named as the, band of the land, the best band. So we took it personally, but we felt like this year would be a great opportunity if we stayed true to what we believed in, that we would climb up, the charts and what we believe in the process that we do, that we would have been able to go back this year. So yeah, it was. I didn't know all the criteria. Like, one of the criteria, we don't have, the auxiliary, the extended auxiliary with the dancing and so on and so forth. But that didn't negate from our artistry and our innovativeness to kind of bring the real raw music, the movement of the drill, the dancer team, our drum majors, our flag corps, and just the whole student body, just buying into this, this opportunity. What I said once again, the FAMU Band has never been judged by a particular platform or personnel to dictate what we do and how we do. So we was a little skeptic in terms of some of the criteria that they were establishing, but we rose to the occasion, and I think it worked out well for us.
All right, go ahead, Kelvin.
First of all, let me say it was my favorite show that the 100 did in the last couple of seasons. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was entertaining. Of course, the sound is always great. But my question is, what do you do and I'm not just you and the band, but the committee who puts the shows together to do a adjudication show where you are being judged and you do have criteria? How is the preparation for that different from a regular just FAMU halftime show?
Well, I think what it sparked was making sure that what we do, that we were really precise. So we took a microcosmic of all the student leaders that we have. We have some great student leaders with great ideas, and the staff, and Lindsay Sargent, who's the arranger, and Mr. Dante Douglas, who also assists in writing the drill for us this year. We figured that, if we put our central brain power together to make sure that we execute it to the highest, the knee lift, the drives, just finite. I'm talking about just nitpicking on every single band member from 8 counts, 16 counts, precision, how our head is moving, instrument angles. So we dug a little deeper. Not that we don't normally do that, but once again, it was like being judged. I think that was an uncharted territory. And I'm going to say that probably all night tonight, that we were being judged specifically. So I think it heightened our delivery to make sure that it was equally, that everybody had ownership in terms of delivering a fine product.
So I want to follow up real quick with something you mentioned when you first spoke earlier. Being in the swag now, 4 years running, a lot of bands that have a lot of tradition also, and rabid fan bases who are social media active. but just tell me what differences you see between MEAC bands traditionally and SWAC bands.
Well, a friend of mine have a term that people like what they like, and people only are educated by what they see all the time. And I do believe with the disparity of us not traveling a lot, people still not educated in what we do. Because people seeing FAMU for the first time, believe it or not, even with its 70-year plus inception. So there is a little delayed reaction in terms of what's heightened. I consider ourselves, both stereo speakers, competent, clean sound, and not everybody is attracted to that, maybe because they're not educated through that. But I do believe by going into the SWAC, we do have a different element. We're not going to sway from what we believe in. We're not going to, blow as loud as we can, and people can't identify maybe certain selections. That's just my unbiasedness. People can take it how they want to take it. But I think it's a vernacular communication where people could really enjoy what they're hearing from across the field or on the field. So I think just to really grind the crowd attention so they could leave something. You know what? They play Can We Talk? I love that song versus, having a delayed reaction of trying to figure out what was done on the field. Yeah.
Right. Agreed. Okay. Go ahead, Marcus.
Thank you for joining us this evening. I have 2 questions. The first one, what, in terms of, I guess, the overall aura and just maybe the way it's being judged, what's the difference between the Celebration Bowl Battle of the Bands and say the Celebration Bowl Band of the Year finals and the Honda Battle of the Bands? I mean, in terms of like comparing, I'm assuming that both have some degree of judging in it, but I don't know. Explain to me, a non-band head, what the difference is in between the two events from a band standpoint.
Well, at Honda, I had the privilege. I'm going to be in a car. It's going to be kind of dark. At Honda, it was more of a short exhibition, non-judgmental. It's
Oh,
basically
okay.
best band. Every band come and do their 10, 12 minutes of, what they do and believe in. And the ESPN thing was very much like sports, categorize people into certain strengths and weaknesses, and they encapsulate you. So, like I said, it was a little different. So, it actually, in so many ways, it upticked our delivery instead of kind of falling into our regular routine, our regular innovativeness, our regular daily practices. It just it made us more aware, because like I said, we'd never been judged before, so that was quite different in our by the outside. People gonna say what they say, do what they do, but being judged was a different category that was not quite there. So there was a little skepticism, but nonetheless, that's the difference between the two. I think it's exhibition versus, well respected, retired musicians or band directors or teachers kind of quantifying what we do. But there's also a little skepticism too. People like what they like, and even judges like what they like, even though they're going for specific things that they want to, go for, But at the end of the day, I do believe we rose to the occasion by awing them, giving them something to remember, that they can't nitpick us, So.
Okay. And the second half of my question, for the band of the year, what was the thought process going into the selections that were made for it?
The selections, we wanted to be relevant. I mean, even with the song selection, we want to make sure that the crowd can be appeased to what we're sharing with them. With Frankie Beverly just recently passing, I think that's something that Before I Let Go. Sometimes you hear Before I Let Go, they may say Beyonce, but that's not Beyonce. That's Before I Let Go. That's that's Frankie Beverly, who kind of like. So there's a wide spectrum of just getting the old and new, because maybe because the sampling nowadays, the younger generation think this music is new, but the ones who actually do the research figure out that, hey, this has been around 40 years, 35, 40 years. So that was the quite overlap. And then, in Atlanta, that's like the melting pot of Afrocentricness. So, you got to be careful of what you pick and how you get your message across.
Thank you.
Before I go to a couple of questions from the chat, I want to give you an opportunity to tell us a little bit about your background. You've been, how long have you been directing the baritones, the sousaphones? Just a little bit of your background with FAMU and the Marching 100.
Yes, this is my 12th year as tuba euphonium professor, lower brass. So I came in the resurgence. I call it the comeback in 2013. I'm a Florida A&M graduate, music education. I attend the University of Florida. I'm now recently getting my doctorate from Florida State. I finished all my coursework. So I'm a Florida boy all the way through, Haitian American by trade, Miami, Florida, Miami Central, even though my Rockets didn't do well this year. But we'll talk about that later. But but beyond that, I bleed orange and green. It's been a platform for me to grow, cultivate, and actually tell people that the tools that I've learned at FAMU are lateral. They work. I believe in it, from the pioneers that came before me, and just taking that mantle and just giving it back. So it's been intriguing. I started off with a small studio of 4 students. Now we have about 18 to 22 majors in the tuba euphonium diaspora. So, it's been good. And Dr. Chimman has been a big catalyst, as my other colleagues who are my former professors that, played a pivotal part in my growth. So it's been good. It's like being home, but, you still got to learn the rules of engagement, of growing and getting better. So great, good being a FAMU.
Okay. Well, good to know. Appreciate it. I got a question here from the chat from Hollow. Hollow says, Mr. Ralph, how can we get you conducting more songs? He says, I've noticed when you are conducting, we get more modern music. We need more of that.
Well, I guess, from the scale of, I ain't calling nobody age, but I guess I'm still kind of like the young buck on the staff. So I'm very ingrained in on the current. And I think there's a current overlap of just making sure that we keep our ethics and our efficacy in terms of how we sound. So I'm always encouraging the new stuff, and as we kind of keep our traditional things kind of going. So yeah, I would love to do more. And a lot of it is with our student arrangers and other maybe alumni that have gone on in different areas. They make suggestions. I was like, yeah, let's take a tackle on that. Let's translate that and make it current so that the crowd can really hear something new and flavorful. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more charts. I just wish I would have taken piano a little more serious when I was an undergrad. Maybe I could arrange more music to keep the crowds engaged. But nonetheless, we have a great staff of arrangers with Lindsay Sargent, Brandon Cunningham, Kristen Yeomans, and others that do well in just, kind of like giving us things that we may have oversight on and what's kind of going on on the music and the radio waves. And we capture those moments. But yeah, I would love to conduct more, and thank you for acknowledging that.
All right, appreciate that, Hollow. Go ahead, Kelvin. You got another question? We'll go another round. I'm going through the chats here. I know a few other people have dropped some questions in there.
Yeah, I have a question about stand selections and traditions in terms of the band at football games. Is there like a protocol y'all have? First quarter we doing this, second quarter we doing this, third quarter we do this, and if so, communicate it. If not, kind of tell me, what's the thought process, the strategy in terms of the stand performance.
Yeah, I think there's a little stipulation of what we can do, but we do outline the things that we want to do. We try to incorporate more, like if there was a first down, we try to play. If there was a big play, we'll try to get the crowds oriented with the SOS, the traditional things. But there's also a layer of just the officiating aspect of bands not playing. I feel like there's a FAMU rule. There's an underlying. I feel like I was in the band. Yeah, as soon as we play like a it's like a penalty. I just don't know what it is. It's like our nuance just travels. But yeah, we try to keep in the scope and knowing there's a football game and that's the reason why we're there. But at the same token, people want to be entertained. So there's a love-hate relationship in that aspect of trying to keep it going. But we do the best we can, and I think we get a lot of our stuff during the halftime show at fifth quarter more so, where we're like, there's no restraint. But in game sequences has been, quite a little bit of a challenge from here and there. We try to get it going and keep, crowd engaged with little, nuances or just chants, drum beats here and there. So yeah, it's been good but challenging at the same time, especially with the football ESPN kind of taking the lead with the TV things and, can't play here, especially on the long timeouts. You'll think you would have a chance to play, but they're like, nah, we got these timeouts. And it's commercial thing, so it's a learning curve. It's definitely a learning curve.
Let me jump in and ask, because I think I got a somewhat decent follow-up here. Speaking about those games and being at games, there's even more challenges because the game experience now, it used to just be when we were at FAM. I think we're all a little older, but it was just 100, and you had the PA and you had the 100. Now, these days, it's everything. You got commercials, you got the DJ, you got the 100. All of that there's a lot of stuff going on in the game. How does what and I don't want to bring it back to what are your thoughts on all of that, but just how is the coordination done? I feel like every year recently it's a work in progress. We're always working to try to make it better. Just what's sort of the protocols or maybe how do you feel about the 100's place in the football game day experience that is happening with all of everything that's going on these days at games?
We try to stay integrated. What is that? Athletics in terms of the outline, what presentations or things that may go on to get and play. One say, when we're in bands, we alternate when we can play. I feel like at home we should be the more dominant ensemble. We should get more opportunity to play and not bias for it. And then dynamic of it's quite, because from game to game you just never know what are you going to get. I do feel like they keep bands stagnant, and that's universally throughout America. bands are focal point. Because you say you got the DJs, you got the announcements, you got the donors. It's real commercial. I think I first experienced that with the Orange Blossom Classic. I mean, I think we only played like maybe a few times, and then the fifth quarter kind of happened. So that was a different aspect where people actually came for the whole FAMU experience, where it was like, you know, just natural and organic, and people just enjoyed just like the nuances of everything. So, you know, and being patient, and we can't play as many minutes.
Right.
Now we got to find these 15-second. So we got to do these like the backs here and there to kind of make it still like the old traditional game day experience. But nonetheless, you know, we just try to fit into the curve what they're demanding and understanding. First, it's a football game. We want to be there if it was in football. So, you know, we also know there's a big component of that being the focal point of it all. So, you know, we're here to compete. We're here to encourage our football team. You know, when our coaches tell us stop playing, they throw their hand sign, stop playing, we stop playing. Because we know it's important, because we want to win. But we want to make
Right.
sure that we all engaged. And then when they want us to play and they hype, they make a big, we follow their lead. So we're very like watching the game and making sure that we're not a distraction, but an inclusive into the game.
Gotcha. Marcus, I want to give you a chance, but I got another question. So Marcus, if you got a question, or I can go to the chat.
Go to the chat because you took my question.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, like mine stay. All right, so Melissa Wilson asked a question. She asked, how do you select the music and routines for performances? And she throws in, with a throwback routine like the iconic one against Southern in 2000 be considered? Now, see, she got me thinking. I got to go back and watch some film and figure that one out. But
That's the heartbeat.
Okay. I start with the 2000. I guess it's coming up to the 25th year anniversary for 2000. The incoming class of 2000, the freshman or the graduate of 2000. I would say we try to go as far back as we can, because we understand we're in the last 25 years, 30 years of just like some great innovative things, and music is very noticeable. So we do recycle from time to time, and the music and routines are usually what's kind of going hot. You know, I'm not a big TikTok user. I don't have TikTok on my phone, but the students love TikTok, and they have these short little, you know, things that's being created that goes viral for like 2-3 days, and then something else happens. So the idea is to really capture some of those TikTok moments and bring them to life, which our students are great at doing. And they tell us, hey, we should try this or try this. And, you know, sometimes it's hit and miss. You know, sometimes you're like, oh, that was last week TikTok. I'm like, well, I just said it 3 days ago. How's it old already? So we try to keep it as how you say, today as possible, without, you know, losing the crowd. But then we also think about the other crowd that's not really integrated into the TikTok, and they get the message and what we're delivering. So, you know, it's a love and hate relationship, I say. You know, you got to figure it out.
All right. Let me see what else I got here. I think you may have gotten that. I know Marvin asked about the process for selecting dance and music to perform. We kind of went through that. Kenya said thank you for the send off at the band of the year. It had that brag feel to it. Was that the performance and the send off at the end? Was that one of those staples that we just had to send it? We had to end the performance that way, correct?
Yeah, that was totally purposeful. We went with the idea of giving the things that most crowd won't see. You know, you'll see the bring it off at homecoming. You maybe see the bring off at home games, but not necessarily on the road. So we felt like we would do ourselves right and justice by giving samples of what we do. Not too much of it, but enough where people could regurgitate and get it. So that exit at the end was a shorter version of what we will normally do. And it worked well with the flow of the show, because we want the show to be continuous, clean, concise, and I think we achieved that by doing that. And our drill writer was amazing in altering what we normally would do to kind of fit all the ideas that we usually do on the bring it on, to come onto the field with the Rattler and then hit that first formation, to coming off on that block formation and then segue into a bring it off. And it's not every day you see tuba splitting in America. I think that's a family thing, that's a genuine thing, and it was a highlight. And the Rattler is second to none. So we just gave them a taste of home in Atlanta. So that was ingenuity, and that was catapulted from our student leaders and saying that we want to leave a staple point, but the Rattler head and some of the formations that we chose to put on the field to kind of like what we believe in here at FAMU.
And I know I think I speak for the fellas here. I know we always enjoy it when the 100 dances and never puts their instruments on the ground. It's just something we don't do. I always get a kick when I watch other bands do it, and I'm like, yeah, that's something we never do. So.
And you know what, Coach, as you say that, when we was watching other bands perform, was like, oh man, we're gonna get him, we're gonna kill him, because nobody dancing and playing. So you heard the murmur through the kids, and I was like, yes. So that was a unique thing, and you're correct. Just that flavor that we do, not putting the instruments down. To each his own. People like what they like, but I think that was the turning point for us, that we keep that energy going with the playing and dancing. Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want to miss on this, that our students are, they are the show. They are generally as excited about winning this award as we are as alums talking about it, right? There's a great sense of pride. Just talk a little bit about the sense and their pride and joy in being recognized, the way that we are proud of them.
Yeah, once again, uncharted territory. And this was their asterisk and their membership in this band and the current band, in terms of like saying, I'm gonna say it again, we have never been judged before, just never. And they took that challenge, and it's like, you know what? We don't know what's happened in the past. They know what's happened in the past, because we've never been judged. They've been here attracted by the energy. So when they took the challenge and we took the challenge, it had to be all inclusive, because we was not going to do this unless we all believed in what we're going into. And they rose to the occasion. They have friends in these other bands. They talk to each other. It's bragging rights, and I believe they rose to the occasion. And we cease to exist without the students. That's a Dr. Shelby Chipman statement, and I truly believe it. And they believed in us to lead them, and they believed in us to show the FAMU nation that we can do this. And we will continue breaking ground, and we'll continue to making people happy about what we do, to support us, to continue to support us. And you'd be surprised just the amount of love and respect that people have for us, beyond the ingenuity of being a family member, for the academics, being a FAMU alumni. And we was doing it for all alumni. As far as we could think, it was a pride thing. It was all pride. And we wanted to let the SWAC world know that we here in our respective way. And I think the students did it admirably, respectfully.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Another question from the chat comes from Kenya. Kenya asked about how do we get around the copyrighted music restrictions? Or maybe if you could speak on that and just that process of the restrictions related to music. We've heard about copyright things and stuff like that, but any of that you can speak on.
Yeah, I think a few years ago with Trosana and some of the transition of how the music world is kind of going on, everybody wants to get credit for their artwork. And that's respectable, and copyright is very important. You want to give credit. And that's why we program well in the ink pen of Mr. Lindsay Sargent, which he deals out there and making it sound true to nature without putting too much content. He can put his flavor in it. And whatever legalities we got to go through in terms of, making sure that we go through it. But ESPN actually took care of that, because I think it was under their umbrella. But when we do it at home, there's a set list of songs that we submit. And to my understanding, my knowledge, I know that we do have to pay a certain monetary to make sure that, we're not hit with a copyright infringement. So that does play into it. But our music is so noticeable. I think they always try to get us because it's so clear, it's so rich, and people sing along. It's almost hard to say what is that because you could hear it instantly. So where you're talking about arrangement and just certain nuances, we're very recognizable every time we play. So we always gotta stay within the legal ramifications of everything. So it's sensitive. It's sensitive, but I think we've navigated and worked through it. We have an idea what we're going to play for the fall semester, and we put it in this box, and we say, "Hey, these are the things we're going to do." And we keep it, and we try to recycle, but we understand new music always, the intent, but also, anything that's out of the 25 year, which is a public domain, we're all right. So we don't have to worry about those things. So like this year was like recapturing some of the older music. So we were not caught with a lot of the copyright things, maybe with the newer music.
Okay, that's good to know. Good to know, definitely. Any other questions you guys have, Kelvin, Marcus?
I have one more for you. I know that each band, each conference, they have different styles and they do what they do. Mention a couple of other bands that you watch that, not comparing them to the 100, but just they do what they do and you think they do it at a high level.
Just being biased, I really don't watch too many other bands. When I made my commitment to FAMU as an undergraduate, I just focused on FAMU. Not saying that you shouldn't pay attention to your competitors or the people that, may want to, get ahead of you, whatever that may mean. But I truly believe every band respectively did what they believe in. They did well. A&T did well. Virginia State did well. Even Miles. And, we serve a different demographic of people in the area. So you're gonna hear some culture relation things that may be quite different from South Florida and Georgia versus North Carolina. So I think eloquently, I think every band did well. It's just a certain, when you get your hair standing on your body, you just know the difference is clear. And that's all I can say. The difference is clear, and not undermining them. I think they did great. I really respect art, because there's an art form that we're going after. So
Right.
And it's a competitive spirit. I mean, hey, we love what we do, but then again, there's a certain level of competitiveness that you always want to, put on the forefront. So, and that's what we, pride ourselves in, making sure that we're the curve of just being the leaders of what we're sharing.
Okay, then let me follow up with this, and this is my last one, Bryan. How can you get CDs, videos, ways to support the 100? Frankly, you got any fundraisers going on?
Yeah, we have multiple initiatives. We have the FAMUbands.com, where we're always asking people to donate and encourage to support us in our endeavors in terms of equipment maintenance, travel. We would like to be more on the scene and some of these venues, football games. And outside of the marching band, we have other like cultivative things that makes the marching band great with our wind bands and our small ensembles and our summer band camp where we train young kids to love music and virtually come to FAMU. So there's several initiatives that we're always trying to fundraise. Scholarship, you can never have enough of that because our students are graduating. They're here 4 years. They're maintaining the GPA. They're passing their contents, and and we want them to give back when they leave here. So all in all, yeah, we're trying to get duly connected with the media stream, make sure we have content out there that people can appreciate. So even after a performance after last weekend, they could go back and review it, even though it was not in the stadium. So they could keep seeing it and being just moved and awed by what we've done, what we will continue to do. So as we come to learn the social media thing and the YouTube and the Instagram, we have all these pages where our student leaders put, our individual students in each section, acknowledging them. And we let people know where we are, what we're doing, what we're going to do, and how we're going to do it. And, try to keep engaged. So that's another platform, of course. Bands all across America are learning to keep engaged so that people can keep in contact.
Okay. All right.
And I want to add in a question regarding the travel. You mentioned being able to fundraise to travel more. talk about the students. And we often hear the noise from outside saying, "Oh, FAMU doesn't travel, blah blah blah." And I always kind of wonder and think about the students and wonder, say, I always think that the students would probably want to travel. We all, because they enjoy this, I would imagine. So from their perspective, as you talk to them and you hear from them, what do you hear from the members of the Marching 100 as it relates to traveling? Do they wish that they could travel to more of these road games and some of these classic SWAC contests and things that we as alums, when we look at it and we see the SWAC, which is a very band traveling conference, what's their perspective or thoughts?
Oh yeah, that's the competitive spirit. Like I said, they have friends from their high schools, friends from cities that go to these other colleges, and I think there's a competitive spirit where they want to see these bands, or we want to see bands come to brag. So either way it goes, we want to be in that competitive realm, and I think it's important just offering the real total package of an HBCU experience from both sides, that they get a real good, immerse themselves into it so that we can, do what we do. I'm not the leader of why we don't do it, or I don't make the final decisions, but I do know there's a missing component where people, they want to travel. As soon as, I can honestly say this year we had almost 30 days, not off, but 30 days when we didn't see no band, we didn't have no football game. It's just how the schedule went, because we didn't go to Jackson, we didn't go here, we didn't go there, and some of those are premier HBCU, and we're not seeing each other. Like the total package, we're playing the football games, but we're not getting always the total package for whatever reason. Maybe that's a higher up situation. Maybe we can reorganize that to make sure that we have these great moments, that we can really enjoy it. I think both sides will enjoy it. So the students really want to do more of that if we could.
Nice. All right. Well, again, I want to give you an opportunity. Thank you again for coming on tonight. Anything that you want to share with us? Any sneak peeks to anything that we should be looking forward to in 2025 coming from the Marching 100? Any breaking news? You can do anything you want to do or anywhere you want to go with it. I want to give the floor to you.
No breaking news. Just we love you. We ask for your support, and the best is yet to come. I think this platform that we just reestablished ourselves as being one of the premier ensembles, historical ensembles, that we look to getting more vibrant students to come and fill in the ranks, and to keep this fire going, because the idea is for us to win it every year, and we know it's going to be difficult. We know everybody's going to come out with their A game, and probably even microcosmically copy us even more than ever. So that might be from the stands to the field to whatever ambiance, our aura. But I look forward to just reestablishing ourselves and keep the game plan going and being on top. So I think our fellow staff, the chairman, Mr. Sargent, Dr. Chipman, who's the leader of our ensemble, that we continue to grow, we continue to reach out and just keep building, keep supporting, and I'm looking forward to next year.
Well, definitely want to again thank you for coming on. Thank you and congratulations to the Marching 100 staff and performers on a great season. And again, the standard is the standard. And finally, I don't know what's left now. We've been judged. You won. I don't know what you do from here. So we just continue to, build a bigger bridge and make it harder for people to come across it. I don't know. But
I'm gonna put a Nike model with a FAMU. Just do it again. Just do it again. Just do it again.
There it is. Hashtag do it again. Here's the thing right there for 2025. Right there. Hashtag do it again. There it is. All right. Well, again, hey, thank you for coming on. I wish you and your family happy holidays and Merry Christmas. And to all the members of the Marching 100, we salute you and we say congratulations and thank you for a great season. And we
Absolutely.
can't wait to see what you guys do again in 2025.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. All right. Awesome.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time. Ralph John Paul, the director of the baritones and sousaphone, part of the Marching 100 band staff. Awesome, actually. I think that's our first official interview with a band director or anyone. No, we've had an alum. We've done the Marching 100 alumni president before, so actual current.
Yeah, we've had Victor and we've had Kim.
We've had
both
Kim
on. Yeah.
This is the first active current director that we've had. So
right.
Yeah, we appreciate Ralph for coming in and joining us. Awesome to kind of hear a perspective and hear what went into that band of the year competition. So please make sure to share that portion of the interview or the entire podcast or the episode with your friends. Some great perspective there on kind of what goes into the formula, what goes into the sauce. Good stuff. Thank you for all the questions as well. All of you who asked questions in the chat. Melissa, Marvin, Kenya, EA, all you guys, anybody I left out, I'm sorry, but appreciate you. I think Hollow had asked a question in there as well. So appreciate you guys. All right. Well, let me do, I want to say, Marcus, what is your time frame looking like? Let me ask that. I want to be respectful because I know you, you're a hardworking man, and I know you got some stuff to share with us. So talk to me. You're on mute.
You're on mute.
You're still on mute. Still on mute. There you go.
10:15, but after that, I gotta wrap it.
All right.
So let me go ahead and roll right into it then.
Yeah, let me do a quick. Can I do a quick break, Marcus, and then give you a chance to get your stuff set up, and then when we come back, Marcus will do some updates on football recruiting information, and we'll go from there. All right. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We will be back in just a moment.
HBCU football fans, a champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 14th. MEAC champions, SWAC champions, the Cricket Celebration Bowl, crowning an HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
This is Bryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2025? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 31st to February 2nd, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances from the Levert Experience and the Bar Cave. Immerse yourself in interactive art. Shop from over 80 vendors. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app. And enjoy family-friendly STEM activities. Plus, don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends, honoring talents such as Whitney Houston, Marvin Gaye, and Luther Vandross. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets.
ESPN Band of the Year returns to Atlanta on December 13th. 4 marching bands will qualify for the big stage, where 2 national champions will be crowned. Follow us on social media for rankings updates throughout the season. And join us at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Bryan, Marcus, Kelvin here. Before I turn it over to Marcus, want to make sure we give a quick mention scores from last night. Our men's basketball team, they're out in Utah, taking on the Running Utes of Utah last night, and then I think they'll be taking on BYU this weekend. Lost 89-59 last night to Utah. A game that I can only summarize by saying
we could have said that, man, to have the Marcus.
Well, no, I only
You can say it after Marcus went.
No, because after Marcus, I mean, we may be ready to go. I just wanted to, mention it. People may, come on now. I just was gonna mention that.
I was saying we're gonna mention it on the way out the door. But go ahead.
Love the pre-show meetings that we have on our show. All right, with that said, we'll just stop there, and I will turn it over to Marcus Green with some of our latest information on verbal commits. Marcus, the floor is yours, sir.
Yes, and it was looking a little dicey on signing day. I know we talked about it, and I've seen RattlerNation was kind of like up in arms, but we're finally getting some trickles in. Go ahead and go with it with the verbal commits. The first one was Chase Dexter, a transfer from the Air Force Academy, which I believe is in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and he was a class of 2024, so comes in with a lot of eligibility. Coming out of Plant City High School, his high school played in the first round of Class 4A Metro, and I know this year we went back to the conventional classifications in the state of Florida, but I guess for the 2 or 3 years where they had metro and suburban and rural classifications. And, looks to be a depth. We'll see. And he come in and compete at the DB position. I did see something where someone said that he actually signed. I have not seen any evidence of it. I didn't see anything posted on social media. So I don't know to what degree that may be true. So I haven't categorized as a verbal commitment so far. Next one, Damian Thompson, another defensive back, is actually given a PWO offer. And he says he shut down his commitment or his recruitment based on the PWO offer to come to FAMU. He started out at Los Angeles Valley College and then moved to Morehead State for 1 year. And then now he's coming to FAMU, which I'm assuming may be his last year. Who knows, in terms of eligibility. But another defensive back who did have some accolades at the junior college level. Today, yesterday or today, I didn't put the date down. We got a commitment from Xavier Perkins, a transfer defensive lineman from Florida State. Came in as a preferred walk-on over at FSU, but he played for a good program down in Tampa, Florida, Berkeley Prep. And I believe his junior year, they made it deep into the playoffs, maybe the state finals or semifinals. Senior year made it to the second round, and last year, the year after he graduated, they actually won the state title and actually beat Miami Norland in the title game last year in somewhat of an upset. So he's coming in, got good size. We'll have to see, in terms of could be a good player for us. He may not have cracked anything over FSU, but, he could be someone that could be developmental or someone who just come in and make a splash. We don't necessarily know per se, but he seems to have good size and hopefully a good potential. Today, Alexander Davis, a punter from Timber Creek High School. And I would look back at his social, and I must have missed it, but we actually offered him in high school. And it looks like early in January 2023, he had committed to USF. Don't know what everything that transpired there, but then he ends up at Mississippi Valley. And this year, according to his social media posts, he had some film. He was probably one of the top ranked punters in the conference. And so, again, it'll fill a need that we had with
Mike Smith,
Trey Wilhoit jumping in the portal.
Oh yeah,
and it may free up the young man from Cocoa High School, Gunnar Trout, for field goal duty. So we'll see how that shakes out on the special teams, but getting in a proven player within the conference, and I don't know how many punts he had, but and you know, no shade at Mississippi Valley, but based on some of the scores in the other games besides ours,
he probably punted a lot.
It looks like he had plenty of opportunity. So, you know, once again, we get a quality punter. He just jumped in the portal recently. I know the coach has been dismissed, and a lot of one of the other aspects of it, not only is just the portal open for players looking for more playing time, but if your coach gets released, I don't know how this overlaps, but I think the NCAA had a rule that a coach is released, you get 30 days from that also to get in the portal, but it may be a moot point given that the portal is now open, but it does present itself for another opportunity to have more players jump in the portal when there's a coaching change that happens.
Yeah, he's a Florida kid too. He's a Florida kid, so he's coming on. Ain't nothing in the beginning, so I don't blame him.
So that's all I have. That's all I found so far from verbal commitments. We have made a few offers in the last few days, so I've been trying to keep up with that and keep the spreadsheet updated. So, you know, I'll try to catch that up as the holidays come on and see where we are in terms of offers. I guess the one thing I would say is that from an offer standpoint, I don't know to what degree any offers we made with the previous coaching scheme when Coach Riz was here and Coach Simmons, you know, any 2025s, I don't know to what degree there's any viable traction with those recruits, but it looks like we're kind of starting to slate clean a little bit with the new coaching staff under Coach Colsey. So I don't know to what degree we'll reach out to those same players or if it's even still a committable offer with the players that were offered previously when Coach Simmons and Coach Riz were here.
It looks like those two top wide receivers, the one from UAPB as well as the one from Valley are going FBS too.
Okay. Yeah, I did see the one from UAPB committed to Oklahoma. I didn't see where the other young man committed.
He's visiting, I forget what school, but it's Group of 5 school.
Okay. All right. And if you'll indulge me, let me pull up the other. I have two more quick slide presentations. One for the transfers, just to keep everybody up to date. Let me put that in slideshow mode.
Let me ask a quick question while you're pulling that together. I'll ask Kelvin this, and if you can chime in there, Marcus. Given that the recruiting really seems like, you know, we gotten spoiled maybe the last couple of years with the recruiting on the early window and hearing a lot of names and stuff. But it seems like it's going back to a more traditional, what we grew up on, where we may not really know this class until February. Do you think that's a product of what has changed in the college football world right now? Because I'm not seeing I don't think a lot of HBCUs didn't really get a lot of people in the early window, not like the previous year or two.
I think it's a lot of things with that. I think part of it is the transfer portal and NIL, but I think also, you know, there's a lot of coaches moving right now, and you know, there's some rumors that there's some movement potential within our own program. So, you know, I imagine kids, you know, the early signing period is open to the 28th. So I imagine the next week is when you're going to see a lot of movement. You got a lot of open positions in the HBCU landscape right now. You know, out of all those positions that open up, only 2 I think have been filled right now, and there's rumors out there that there may be 2 or 3 more that will open up in the next few days.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I thought
So
so. There's a lot of fluidity.
yeah, and I guess just to follow up what Kelvin said, and I agree, is that there's so much fluidity with everything going on because you have the bowl season going on at the FBS level, playoffs going on, and they get an extended transfer window because they're participating in the playoffs. I think they get an extra week after the 28th. But then you have that, you have coaching changes, and then you have the sheer volume of people jumping into the portal. You have, well, the sheer number of people who are now recruitable athletes. Let me say it like that. You have high school seniors. You have portal entrants, which is, at an all-time high. And now, depending on whatever this ruling means, the articles that I've read around the junior college players is that right now that ruling is specific to the quarterback at Vanderbilt, but the expectation is that the domino effect is that the NCAA will have, losing this case, or at least having the injunction, would have to make accommodations for all junior college players. So now you have a lot more supply than demand. And so some folks can sit back and wait and make the best choice. Some folks can see what NIL deals are out there, and others are scrambling. So it's probably going to run the gamut. But it seems like right now there's not a strong impetus to commit because there's so many things to work through. There's so many players to evaluate. There's so many schools to evaluate that it sounds like, or looks like, decisions are being made. And from a coaching standpoint, and not being a coach, I can't really say, but I'm thinking with the sheer volume of players to evaluate from, it's like, okay, how much time in the day is there? I mean, between the portal, the junior college players, and at the junior college thing, depending on when it, whatever decisions made. And right now, when I looked at the spreadsheet list of players that we had, I don't think there may be one or two that we recruited from junior college last year that may regain some years back. But I think the others who've since graduated or at least exhausted their eligibility, I don't know if it's going to be retroactive, but anybody on the current roster, I'm assuming may fall under it. So now as a coach, you have to assess, determine, see what the NCAA is going to decide in terms of any junior college players who still have eligibility or haven't walked across the stage yet, whether they have retroactive years coming, and how that impacts your roster. Then you got the whole transfer portal. Then you've got high school recruits that are seemingly getting pushed further and further down the rung, and how you want to build your program. So there are a lot of players that need to be evaluated in a short amount of time.
Yeah, that's a great point. How many hours in a day are there? Well, I tell you. All right, here you go, Marcus. Got
yes. So let me go.
Good old departures out of the program.
Now, yes. So it won't be a lot, just because it's maybe one or two. Well, let me say this: I don't have a lot of slides. These slides populated over the course of last year when Coach Simmons left, all the way up through April, the spring window. So I only have like a slide and a half of players now. But you can see from the names, and I think I have this correct. I think I did see where Jalen Ward, it sounded like he committed to University of North Alabama. I saw something today or yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to check before the show, so I made a guess. KJ and everyone else is to be determined, but we lost at least one wide receiver, and these are all portal entrants. So I'm not looking at graduation, but just portal entrants. A couple of offensive linemen, KJ McCoo and Janik Ogunlade, both jumped in the portal. We know about the two special teamers, Michael Smith and Trey Wilhoit, making themselves available. A defensive back athlete, Judify Michael. I did see a quick post from Eric Horn. So once again, that's debatable, and it got deleted. So I don't know if he's changed his mind. Seen a couple of things from him in terms of medical, requesting assistance with the medical. I don't know if he'll get a medical red shirt for a year that he might have missed or been injured. Quarterback David Oliveros Jordan spent 1 year. Defensive back Braylon Oliver spent 1 year with us. And more recently, Alston Hooker. I don't know if I saw anything from his social media, but it looked like someone else picked it up. Khalil Hunter, who's a reserve linebacker and defensive end out of high school, played at STA, St. Thomas Aquinas. And I saw something from Cesar Reyes. Those are the last ones that I've seen more recently. So we're looking at least double digits there. So 3 on that page, and I guess at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. So we're looking at 12 at least so far before Christmas.
And Eric Horn is returning.
Okay.
Apparently, that's what EA is alluding to.
Okay. And I'll skip, those are blank holding ones, but then, we get to the NFL declarations. We have Kendall Bowler, Kelvin Dean, Jalen Goff, some nice graphics too. Ooh.
I'm telling you, man, that's a whole new. The industry.
It is an industry. I wish I would have stuck with the Photoshop, and I could have.
I'm telling you, the industry between the signing day. Let me see. How many are there? There's the committed graphics, then there's the signing graphics, there's the going pro graphics, there's the transfer portal graphics. Because you got to have a whole. You got to have AI do a whole speech for you. Write a speech saying I'm leaving this school and make it sound nice. And there's a whole AI thing.
Jeremiah Pruitt.
Beautiful graphics, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to all these guys. Shout out to the graphics people, man. As someone who does graphics, man, I tell you.
Yeah, I should have stuck with the Photoshop, but I just
not even
didn't have the time. But you can see stuff like this kind of coming about 5 or 6 years ago, because I think either Texas or somebody created a graphics media department. One of the schools that has like 7 or 8 figure budgets, and they created a department mainly for announcements or commitments, but then it's just expanded from there. Oh, I got Jalen Goss twice.
Yeah, no, don't worry about trying to read all that stuff. Essentially it's an AI. It's probably some AI. Just so don't worry about it. But
all right, and I know it's coming in about 3 minutes, but let me close out of this and quickly, if I can find it, go through the slideshow we didn't get to last week for.
Ashley said that's Shweta doing the graphics on the NFL. I'm assuming she's doing the ones on the NFL guys who are going. I would imagine. So.
Yeah, I think she indicated that on social media. She was working with some of that.
Nice.
All right, the last one window. Oh, I didn't. Hold on, let me slideshow.
Yeah, Edwin, it might be look, if a lawyer or an agent, these guys, they probably are you. I'm telling you, look, speaking as someone who has become very familiar and useful with AI, it ain't hard to put some stuff in there.
All right, the last.
All right, these are what, the non-football?
Yes.
All right, because I know I saw someone ask that. Who asked that question? Larry Sargent. Any recruits in non-football sports? So here you go, Larry. Right here. This segment's for you right here.
All right, we didn't get to this last week, but to go through it quickly. I'm assuming it's Amaya Ramos. She signed out of Taylor High School in Pearson, Florida. And I didn't see how they ended up last year, but she signed back on signing day for the Olympic sports, which was last month, almost a month ago today, the 13th or somewhere around there. So start with softball. Erin Polite. So she's coming out of Clear Springs High School in Texas.
Each time.
Nathalie Williams.
Yeah.
Out of South Sumter. And I want to say she was committed somewhere else. And she was I don't know if she was a signing day flip, but I saw her committed somewhere else. And then she popped up and said, hey, I'm coming to FAMU. So that worked out pretty good. Nyree James, another player on the softball team. Volleyball, I think we just have the one, Kristen Moore. out of Virginia Academy in Ashburn, Virginia. I have not seen anything on social media other than what was posted over the summer where she committed. So I haven't seen anything that, or either at the school website or anything there that validated it, but hopefully she's still on board. And speaking of which, there are a lot of volleyball players jumping in the portal.
Yeah.
Not from our team, because we had 9 seniors, but just in general, I follow, CVB, college volleyball, or CVT, college volleyball transfers. There's a lot of folks jumping in the portal.
Hey, the volleyball ladies are like, hey, it's working for football. We might as well jump in and jump around as well.
Mm-hmm. From baseball, Jamarcus Benton out of Jefferson High School. I did not see any evidence of him signing per se, but he committed in mid-August. So hopefully that's still the case. Track and field, Lauren Thompson out of Archbishop Carroll High School in DC. And I was searching, and apparently they have a national reputation for track. Yeah. And so they had some young ladies. I don't think she was on the team, but that won either the 4x100 or 4x110 hurdles and set a record last summer. So hopefully, she's in that same realm to add to the track team. Basketball, Xana Justice out of the ATL at Milton High School. So she signed on signing day, and she goes 6'3".
6'3". There we go.
Naya, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right. Naya Rhodes.
It's like my sister spells her name same way. Yeah.
And so she signed. Actually, I guess that's the signing. I need to update it. When she signed, I didn't update the signing day. So she signed with Coach Prusher, and I think that's all I have. I'll just have these holding spots for other sports as we get folks.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Marcus.
Right. Good stuff, Marcus. We were talking about this offline, that this will probably end up being the last live show, because the next 2 Wednesdays are Christmas Day and New Year's Day. So there's a very, very not even there's like that much of a chance of a live show. So what I'm saying, folks, this is probably our last live show of the year. So Marcus, before I let you go, I got to ask you, maybe give me your top 3 or your top 2 stories from the calendar year. FAMU Athletics, just whatever comes to the top of the dome. I know we didn't. So here's what we're gonna do, folks. We're gonna put together some best of shows in the next couple of Wednesdays. So if you have any interviews that we've done this year that you want to hear us or want to hear again, send us an email, ongstrikezone@gmail.com, ongstrikezone@gmail.com. But come on, Marcus. Give me 1 or 2 big stories from the year. What's the biggest stories? Whatever comes to mind.
The biggest story, the first thing came to mind was 237 Gate. I don't know what to call it. Jerami Gate.
Jerami Gate.
And the domino effect of all that, including athletics. And other one that pops into mind was the volleyball team going undefeated in conference and winning 25 plus. I think we're up to 27 and 28 wins total for the season, and capping it off with an appearance in the NCAAs and winning the SWAC title.
Okay. There's a couple good ones. That's good.
So those are the 2 that popped into mind.
Yeah. Okay. Kelvin, you want to? Well, I mean, I don't want to hold you up, Marcus. So with Kelvin and I can kind of cash out ours in a moment. But Kelvin, Marcus, anything you want to say to the people as this is your last appearance for 2024? Obviously, again, no live shows next week, which is Christmas Day. Anything you want to say to the people, Marcus?
I just want to thank everyone for being loyal watchers, loyal listeners, and contributing to the program, either financially or through your insight and support. And just looking forward to 2025. I know Kelvin has some great guests that we're proposing, and we're trying to reach out to different folks to make sure we keep the show lively, keep it informative, and keep it fun. So I just want to thank you guys for all your support and all the efforts you put in, and just keeping Rattler Nation strong.
All right. Well said, Marcus.
And happy holidays.
And happy holidays.
Oh, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I'm not afraid
Yeah.
of saying Christmas. Merry Christmas.
All right. All right.
Absolutely.
Marcus Green, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Marcus, we'll talk offline.
Joe's up in the church play.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. There you go.
See you later,
All right,
Joe.
Mark. All right, Justin. All right, later, Marcus. Good stuff. Good stuff. Inside joke there in case you missed it. All right. Good stuff. Appreciate all you guys recognizing Marcus's work. And I'm telling you, it is a job keeping up, man. You don't even understand. Just the keeping up with the stuff on social media is like, whoa, it's a lot. It's a lot out there to keep up with. And Marcus has always done a great job of keeping up with that stuff, man. So you guys continue to show love and support, and appreciate you for doing that. All right, Kelvin, top stories from 2024, since it's just you and me now. Biggest stories. You want to, how you want to do this? You want to go top 5, or you want to trade off stories? You go one, then I go one. How you want to do it? You guys in the chat, you tell us, what's your top story from 2024? Your top story from 2024. Good, bad, or indifferent.
Okay. Let's alternate. I start off Coach Simmons' exit from FAMU. That was, and it was early too. But that was the first one that came to my mind.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good one. That's what is it? I became less. You know what? Probably I became less petty because I was probably having to deal with more foolishness than anything. She's not the boss of me. She can boss me though. I'll take it though.
But she did tell him, dictate whether he wear the earring or not though.
I saw her at the Celebration Bowl. I didn't get a chance to get my hug, but whatever. We'll stop. I'm gonna look. Okay, Melissa, Hitman. Yeah. Those are all good. Okay. I'm gonna go with Coach Crary and the Board of Trustees. How about the Board of Trustees foolishness regarding the Coach Crary contract? That's where I'm going. Since you took my Simmons one, my number 2 would have been that. Because that was so unusual, I want to say not unbelievable, but it was unprecedented to the point of I'd never seen us do that. And it really was not even about him. It was more so about her. And they took it out on that contract. And it just on top of all the other foolishness that had happened in the previous months, then that happened. So yeah, thanks, Board of Trustees. But I'm confident that will get taken care of now that we have new administration. But yeah, so that would be number 2 for me. All right, what do you got? You're next.
Well, I'll go to Dr. Robinson stepping down after 7 years at the helm of FAMU. That would be the number 2 big story for me.
Yeah. I feel like it was a year or two overdue. I hate to say it, but It does. It feels like a year or two overdue. I'm gonna go. So then my next big story, then it has to be not only what was it? 48 hours. 48 hours after the booster luncheon, where we finally got our AD to come on with us, and she was excited. I mean, she was personable, talking, and then like literally 48 hours later, resignation with the Dr. Beard asking for everyone's resignations or senior leadership's resignations. And she's out. Deuces. Big girls don't cry, whatever the t-shirt and the photo was, it was just all like, wow, really? You knew it, you had to think it was coming. You tried to tell people it might be coming, but people were like, no, really? Y'all gonna do that? Yeah, they did that. But she's doing better for herself.
Hey, right, man, they killing you, especially EA.
EA, EA. You don't know the half. Go away, EA.
All right, so I'll do one more, and I'll go with the hiring of Angela Suggs as our AD. That was big, man. That was a home run hire there, I think.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good positive one. That's a good positive one. You got me inspired then to want to do a positive one. And I'm torn because can I split between softball and volleyball? What I like about the softball story is it's like Coach P finally has the full she's got everything she needs. Going into really, it was like her second full year, if I'm not mistaken, right? Second full year. She got, time to do whatever, get the recruiting, she got the staff. And this team was just so much more improved. She got the pitchers, Oriana Hughes, she got Samantha Smith. And we had a great run. I mean, we won the SWAC East, some outstanding games in the tournament. And then we just had a couple of unfortunate breaks. And, we ended up losing the championship game. But I'm really proud of Coach P, the ladies, the softball team, good friend of the program, Naya. I mean, I call her an Iron Woman, amazing young lady. Just that group of girls, ladies, they were so fun. They were fun. And
yeah,
I really think they reestablished our place among softball and HBCU softball elite programs. And of course, the volleyball team, the no losses in Lawson. So that's kind of my 3A and 3B, the no losses in Lawson and just the unbeaten SWAC season was pretty special.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh man, you guys have gotten some. Let me just go. Some of you guys got some good ones here. I'm gonna just kind of run through the train here. Hollow, yeah.
Yeah, that was memorable.
Memorable. The naming of Althea Gibson Way. Sadly, the Coach P exit, that was sort of deflating. That was kind of like, oh, really? You know who it didn't even get a mention? Again, our women in the spring were just so awesome. Our women's sports were so awesome. Our women were so awesome. The track and field women were, man, tennis, women's tennis. I mean, we went to the championship game again. We came that close to almost winning the SWAC Women's Award, right? Good stuff. Alums raising the money. Yeah. Yes, I did not forget about the bowling coach versus the players incident. Jesus. Shout out to Mo Shamora, graduated, and just everything she did to kind of shine a light on that. Because I think had she not shined a light on that situation, I don't think we would have heard about it. But that spoke to the power of the internet and social media. You know, I think she really, you know, she really took charge of that. Another HBCU national champion, the golf team. Yeah. I don't know. You could say they came out of nowhere. I mean, we knew they were good, but yeah, what is this? The Blueprint Committee. Oh my God, EA. The shoulder tap. The tap heard around the world, boy. Yes, indeed. Boy, y'all are funny. Band of the Year award. Woo. Kelvin, we got a long list of stuff, boy. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we rally. What? Hey, good or bad, we do it big.
I'm telling you, boy. Look, keep it real. Did any other HBCU have a more memorable year, good and bad, than FAMU? I don't think they did. I think we kept people paid this year in terms of content. Content providers' numbers grew in 2024 because of FAMU. That is a true statement. I mean, from live shows to any 5-minute commentary on FAMU, we had it all. We kept people paid this year, boy. Damn, it was a year.
Yes, we did.
I don't even know if I have enough. Look, I'm gonna have to go back through the calendar on this one, Kelvin. This is gonna be an interesting write-up. There's a lot of stuff that we did this year. Every month it was something. All right, I think you guys hit most of them. Anything we left off? All right. Well, just a quick announcement going into the weekend. FAMU women are back on the court on Saturday. They have not played in almost 2 weeks since they beat North Florida back on December 7th. They're traveling up to Birmingham, Alabama, Friday to take on Samford University. That's a 7 o'clock tip-off. So for those of you in the Alabama, Birmingham area, make sure you go check out the Lady Rattlers over at Samford University. Also, as I previously mentioned, the men are taking on BYU on Friday as well.
Not looking forward to that one.
Does BYU shoot better than Utah?
Didn't they just sign like the
Oh yeah, they just
top
signed
guy?
the top, one of the top high school with a $7 million NIL contract.
Yeah, they're going to be tall, and they're going to execute. Tall order.
It was just more of the way that Utah passed the ball. Just real quick, that game the other day, that Utah team, the way they just passed the ball, it was just like, damn, they look good. And every shot in the first half, it looked like that SMU game. No, not SMU, TCU. where TCU hit like 11 3-pointers in the first half. I was just looking at the stats. Utah hit 8 3-pointers. I think I saw all 8 of them too. It was a stretch of about 10 minutes where I think they hit all 8 of them. And I just was like,
they were pretty much open though, which was concerning.
They were. That was the hard part. Yeah, I think that's the part between them.
That and the inbounds, right? They must have got like 6 dunks on inbounds or layups.
The offensive rebound, the rebounding was horrible in the first half. Though. We just looked like we just weren't invested in going and getting rebounds. It was like, damn. I don't know. Maybe it was the altitude. I don't know. Trying to find excuses, but anyway, yeah. Keith said turnovers too. Pretty much a tough game.
Tough game.
Yeah. EA said, well, look, hey, we covered the budget, EA. I can say that. I don't know if it was 50, but between all the check games, I know, we covered what we needed to cover. Second half was a lot closer. Only outscored 39-28, but yeah, they almost had a 19-point lead at halftime. Kind of hard to come on. Yeah, that's sort of a problem, right?
Are you saying that we should assume if someone is of non-African American descent that they probably can shoot 3-pointers and free throws? Keith, right, cuz.
Well, they couldn't shoot free throws worth a damn because they were 10 of 24 at the free throw line. So they actually had a worse free throw percentage than they had a 3-point shooting percentage. Go figure that. I don't know the last time I've ever seen that. Shooting worse at the free throw line than you do from behind the arc. That's crazy.
They had that one guy, I think he must have shot 20% from the free throw line, even though he went a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we actually weren't bad in the first half, 7 of 15. But
keep it moving.
Yeah, keep it moving. Okay, sorry. Got caught up in it. Okay. So again, that's I'll tell you one of the things that we're working on a conversation with Jaquay Nunnally, of course, again, previously mentioned, just newly elected into the Black College Football Hall of Fame. So we're going to have a conversation with Jaquay in the next, we're working on it the next day or two. We'll get him on the show. And probably what we'll do is we'll look to add that into our best of 2024 episodes. So the goal is for next Wednesday, which is Christmas Day, and the following Wednesday, which is New Year's Day, we won't have live shows unless something news, late last year we found out our coach was potentially leaving. So unless something, we hope nothing like that happens over the next 2 weeks, we won't have another live show until the 1st of 2025. The first Wednesday of 2025. Not January.
The second Wednesday.
Thank you. January 8th. January 8th is when we will be back. But what I'm going to put together some of our interviews from some of our coaches and people that we've talked to, maybe some of the student athletes, players that we have talked to this past year. So it'll be like a best of. So when you see it, share it. That's the biggest Christmas gift that you can give us. Of course, donating is nice, but sharing our show and helping us to increase the number of people who watch our show, who subscribe to our pages. We're looking to, in 2025, I'll give a tip that we're looking to kind of increase our web presence. We're going to look to try to add a website, be able to do more stories, blog posts for the upcoming year. So if If you are someone who likes writing about FAMU athletics or might be interested in writing about FAMU athletics, I'm putting an open call out now and saying, hey, be a part of our website team. And we are looking to grow and put together a web page and website so that we can not only be able to cover FAMU athletics from this medium, but also from the print medium as well. We'd love to have you join our team. Send an email to ongstrikezone@gmail.com. Again, that's ongstrikezone@gmail.com. And let's begin the conversation. So, yeah. All right. Any final words you want to share with people, Kelvin, as we wrap up the year?
I hope everybody have a wonderful holiday, Christmas, New Year's. I want to thank everybody for their support and watching the show and participation. And let's make sure that we continue to support FAMU and the athletic program so that it can continue to be and to grow even and do higher heights. We want to be champions at everything we do. And that's going to require our presence financially, physically, emotionally, all the above, sending our children, our cousins and all that good stuff. So, but thank you. I'm very humbled that you find it not robbery to watch us, to support us. And remember, we love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And that's everybody. That's to you non-rattlers too.
Well said, Kelvin. Well said. Again, on tonight's show, I want to thank Ralph John Paul for coming in and joining the show. Thank you, Rattler Nation, for watching the show, supporting the show. Thank you to all of our coaches, administrators, student athletes, alumni, supporters, anybody that has helped make this show possible in 2024 by coming on the show, being a part of the chat rooms, sharing the show, meeting us out on the road at the tailgates and the games. We say thank you to all of you, and we wish all of you a very safe holiday season. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. On behalf of Marcus Green and Kelvin Rozier, AD Drew, who's filled in and done some shows with us, Keith, Roy, any of the BCSM family, Black College Sports Network family. Thank you to everybody who's been a part of this. We are very fortunate, very blessed to be able to do what we do. And we couldn't do it without you. And we're looking to keep growing in 2025. So just share the show, share the website, share the page with your friends. I still meet rattlers to this day that don't know about it. So that means it's on me, it's on you, it's on all of us to share this with the rest of the family and help keep us informed and everyone informed about FAMU athletics. I wish I had some of that eggnog that Kelvin has, but I'm not as fortunate. So for all of us from the ONG Strike Zone and the Black College Sports Network, we wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Stay tuned for those best of shows on Christmas Day and New Year's. And for that, we will say peace out, God bless, and Rattlers, strike, and strike again. God bless everybody. Peace out.